Hey y'all, this is Sarah. I wanted to bring you a super easy craft today. This one is not very involved. It actually just takes a few little simple items, and I think the results are really cute. I want to go ahead and show you what we're going to need. So, you know me, I like using scraps off of scraps off of scraps. So I'm going with a backer piece that is 24 inches, so 2 foot wide and 9 inches high. I'm also going to be doing a frame. So you're going to need 2 of a 1.5 inch cut by 24. And you'll also need 2 1.5 inch cuts by 9. So I've already cut mine out just for the sake of time. However, I am going to show you how to do this yourself. I try to show at least once in each video in case you're not familiar with this method. So I'm going to show you how to get this mitered cut. And it's really simple, and this is the simplest way you can do it without any tools or anything like that. You're just going to need your ruler, a pencil, and whatever you're cutting with. So, if you look, this is 1.5 inches. So we want a perfect square. So 1.5 inch and 1.5 inch. So now we have a perfect square. To get a 45 degree of a square, you're going to go all the way across there on the diagonal. And that is going to give you well, undoubtedly I did not cut through that very well. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. So that is going to give you a nice 45 degree cut. These fit really well together, all nice and mitered, and it gives you a really clean corner. You don't necessarily have to do it for this frame, this one, or this project. It really could go either way. You could do a much simpler straight frame, like something like that, where you just button them together. But I do like the look of the mitered corners, and it's a little bit more effort, but I definitely think it gives it kind of a polished look. So that's all the cutting I'm going to do, because I cheated and went ahead and cut all mine. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and paint our frame. Oh, let me show you the one other item that we're going to be using. So my Dollar Tree finally got these in. They've been out for a while with all of the cool new designs. I picked up a few. Most of these I don't know that I'll get to use this way, since they're kind of bathroom, laundry room oriented, and I really don't feel like the foam core would hold up to the moisture in those rooms. Maybe a front bathroom that's not being showered in. But I did go ahead and pick those up, because either which way, I still kind of feel like I want to do something with them. This one's the one that I'm going to show you today, and we're going to alter it just a little bit. So I'm not going to get real deep into the painting part, because if you haven't caught my other videos, I do kind of the painting lessons more independently, so you have the option of picking which paint colors that you happen to like that's going to work for your project. So you'll briefly see me paint these, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the paint itself. I'm just going to kind of whip through it. The one thing that I do want to do is I am going to get my little flat-headed tool thing that I've got here, and I'm going to hit every one of these like this. Now what that is going to do for me is that it is going to give me some dimensional look, and it's going to mimic that this is real wood that's been stapled together. I don't actually want to staple my foam core, because with it being foam core and not wood, it will kind of cave in on you from the pressure of stapling it. So this is a nice alternative. And once again, the paint tutorial videos, they really show how to get the most 3D look out of this. I'm not going to go super far with this. As a matter of fact, I might just do one little thing. So I'm going to take this little flatter part, and I'm just going to kind of put 2 little spots there like my wood has been gouged. And that's as far as I'm going to go. I don't want it to be very distracting on my frame, This is really narrow. I don't necessarily like to put a lot of the knot holes in it. So this is new for me today, guys. I got me some cute little retro gloves here. I don't know how well I'll be able to function. I feel like I'm suffocating in them, but I'm going to try to see if I can get through this painting process with these on. So I'm going to pull my happy little tray over here. It's got all my goodies. Pop the lids off. And this is exactly why I need protection on my hands. So what I'm using here is Waverly Wax and Antique. This is Waverly Wax and Clear. And I'll also be using Waverly Chalk paint and the color ink. I'm still using the kind of Salvage Barnwood tutorial, because those are the wood colors that I'm using in my decor right now. You can certainly change this to kind of fit whatever you're wanting to match up to. Whether you want something lighter, darker, colorful, that part is entirely up to you. So I'm going to bring my antique in. Let me get this one. I like this one for my edges because it doesn't seem to tear up nearly as fast as my good little sponge here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit these edges. You could, on this particular one, leave them white. However, it's really hard to get that line to cut off there. Your sides, you could always go white. This is going to have a white backer to it. So either which way, I prefer to do my sides. I'm going to end up doing the side of that white backer of my white base piece, even though as a piece itself, it's going to be white from the side. It's just going to look like it's part of my frame. So I've got the edges of those two. Let me hit the edges of these two. And then we'll be able to paint the fronts. And remember, guys, on frames, I like to get part of the front and then part of the underside of the back, just so that if your cuts somehow don't line up really well, or when you glue it down it doesn't line up really well, that you don't have any white showing and peeking out on you and giving a tell that it's not real wood. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. Let me see which side I poked my little fake staples in. Okay, so this is technically my back side. And I'm just going to make sure these little edges won't show anything through. This is my front side. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth a little of that out. That's about all I'm going to do with this brown antique color. So this was my back side. Once again, I'm just kind of going... Oh, no, that's my front. Okay. Sorry, I can't see my little fake staple marks. So this is my back side. And I'm just going to go up against those edges just like that, just to keep any white from poking through. So that's about all I'm going to do coverage-wise on that. And if you check out the Salvage wood video, the barn wood salvage, can't remember exactly what it's named. If you check that one out, you'll see what this paint job is. And it comes in a light version and a dark version. So that's my front. I was kind of kept in mind a few little nice details as I was pushing that down. This sponge is not typically what I use on the front. The only reason that I am is because I'm about to layer on top of that. And that's where a lot of my texture is going to come from. I also did not want to leave those kind of seeped through marks. So here I am on this one. This is the back side. I'm only doing these edges. And here is the front side. I want to kind of clean that up too. I really don't need much out of this brown paint. I don't need much effort on the look of it. It is not what's going to finish out this look for this particular color. So here is where it does matter to me about using the right sponge to get my texture. So I'm going to go into this little bit of, let me get this where you guys can see it. There's a little bit of ink and some wax. And you notice that there was more wax to the chalk paint ratio. So part of the reason I like it kind of soupy like that is to go down in these little indentions that I made. I'm going to hit all of those really quick. It just allows me to push it down in there really easily without leaving too much color halo behind. And I have a little more time to go through and do that and then work that color across. Okay, so you can kind of see that's already taken on its own life. Same thing here. I'm going to take that kind of goopy mixture, rub that across, try to, my control here with these gloves is not quite accurate just yet. I really like to be able to feel what my sponge is doing below my fingers. I think maybe I needed smaller gloves. Okay, so these guys are going to move over to the side and give themselves a chance to dry. This is really, I love having my little paints like this because now I don't have to worry about anything drying up while I move on to the next step. It's just that easy. I'm not trying to pour any of this back in a bottle. This is just so convenient for me. Okie dokie. Got that all put away. Get this out of the way. I'm going to clean up this paint just a little bit really quick. And honestly, this little chair thing here has really made this. This is a floor mat. This is a chair mat that you put on an office floor. This thing cleans up so easily. You guys just saw that, even if I let it dry. But kind of watch out for that, because here's why. I did the painting first, so it has time to dry. However, we're about to work with a white backer. You definitely do not want to shove it right down in the middle of residual paint. So I'm going to bring this back, and I'm going to get out just a craft blade, the utility knife. And I don't want this floral print personally. I just want the words. So I'm going to try to come in here real closely and keep that fairly nice looking. But I'm going to edge out a lot of this floral because I just want the words, the lettering. I'm a fan of just the plain lettered signs without a lot of detail. Certainly a fan of the simplistic Ray Dunn look. So if you don't want to take these off and you want to have your florals, just leave them. This part was not necessary. This was just something that I wanted to do because I knew that I was going to prefer it with just the letters. And it's not really that hard to cut. I may look like I'm struggling, but that's only because my eyes are not, they're not helpful in these kind of crafts. So I'm just going to come up all the way across this whole piece. I want to trim out any of that extra. I'm even trimming out those little dots, the little polka dot things there. I'm trying to stay in the line without doing too much damage. So you can see I'm just going to swing down here. You're not going to see most of this clear surrounding, so you should be able to just swing down, knock those out, and I'm going to pull this part off and show you what I mean. This also allows me to see if there's any spot that I missed. Oh no, I ripped it. There we go. So I want to clean up just a little. I really should have used a much sharper knife, if I'm being honest. This one's definitely due for replacement. Okay, so there we are. Simple as that. It's easier to do it now than it would be to do it later. I'm going to slide this out of my way. I'm going to bring this in here, and I'm going to make sure that I've got a really clean side. Like I said, this was a scrap from something else, so it's kind of been banged around in my craft room a little bit. Well, I see an issue here, and I'm about to fix it. There we go. So I cut into my S a little bit. I'm just trying to clean that up. I hadn't intended on doing that, but I'm just going to pull this off. And if you are a measure it out person, go ahead and do that. However, I tend to eyeball, and I think that comes from years of scrapbooking and just kind of eyeballing things down. And you want to work out your air bubbles. I just caught a bubble down in there, and I'm trying to smooth that out a little bit. And if you want to make sure that you've got it super smooth, just take a popsicle stick and kind of rub across that, and it'll get that clear section. You want to do it gently because you don't want to leave any indentions, but it'll kind of get that clear section to blend in. And the more you rub over that, the more that clear section is going to want to adhere down really securely, and you don't notice it nearly as much. I'm not even sure if you guys can see it now at this point. So that part's done. All I have to do, I told you this was so simple. It's almost shameful. I mean, I'm not ashamed of it, but it's almost shameful. It's that simple. I'm just going to come in. I've got just regular hot glue. I'm using Dollar Tree hot glue sticks. And I'm going to start on any particular side. I like to go around rather than opposite side to opposite side on laying my frame down. You'll see I just go from one side to the next side. And this is why I like doing these edges, is that anytime you're applying these, there's a chance that if you don't necessarily get it totally lined up, you can always see that little bit of white from the back side. So I'm just getting this super flush to the side piece so that when I go into paint my sides, all of that will blend like one really nice piece. And you can always layer this to get the thickness, the bulkiness of some of my other pieces. This one, though, these are really convenient pieces that you can pop up and take down and really change around. You can put it on a shelf that you don't want a lot of heavy weight on. And it still gives you a pretty believable look. So I kind of like to keep some of these signs this way. On my other pieces, I do like to beef those up and chunk those up. But something like this, it just makes it so convenient as a decorative piece. So I'm just going to push this last little frame section in. I'm going to hold it in place so that glue adheres. And there we go. Here is absolutely cute. That is absolutely cute and so stinking simple that I'm not even ashamed. So the last thing I'm going to do, for me, I will probably eventually come back in and paint this backside also. I normally do that after I turn off the camera. But I do come in for sure. And if you don't want to paint the full backside, but you like a finished backside, pick up a roll of the brown paper bag style wrapping paper, the craft style wrapping paper that Dollar Tree has, and just cut that out to side and adhere it to your back and give yourself a nice clean back if you're that kind of person that likes a finished looking piece. I am that kind of person, so I will either add a back of that. If it's a smaller piece, I can use felt, or I go ahead and paint the entire backside. And you'll see once I go in and get this applied, that starts to blend from the side as one solid piece. So when it's hanging somewhere or sitting somewhere, it looks pretty legit. So I'm going to clean that mess up. Get a dryer sponge and rub that out. So I just want to come in and finish out this last little edge here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's such a nice finished out piece. I could go a little darker on this section up here. Let me go ahead and get this extra paint off before it dries too much. And there we go. We'll slide this out of the way so that I can let you guys see. This was less than $2. Considering that this was mostly from scraps, this is nowhere near a full sheet of foam core, even with the frame. These are only $1, but this is a 2-foot wide sign. And it's just as cute as any of the big chain type places that carry these signs. I definitely like it much better without all the florals on it. That's a personal choice for you guys, but I certainly think it's cute for what it is. And that was so simple. I know some of these seem extraordinarily simple, but I know some of you guys, especially in the group, you're seeing all these projects go up and you want to dive in. And I want to give you some options of diving in, not into big, huge, giant builds, but something small, something that you can tinker with in an afternoon and kind of get your feet wet with it. So these kind of projects, I like throwing these out there just to give you something to tinker with. I don't know about you, but there are times where I definitely know I want to craft. I want to create something. I want to burn that kind of energy, but I don't necessarily want to dive into something big and major. Things like this, I love doing these because it gives me a chance to keep my hands busy, keep my mind creative, and very little effort. Totally cute. And that's so lightweight. Oh my goodness, that is so easy to hang. This one doesn't even need the command strips, y'all. This one can go straight on the wall with some poster tack. What I typically do is come in on the 4 corners and throw my poster tack up in the 4 corners. With one this long, I would put it here somewhere just to give it extra security. But you could do this and put it on a door and not have to worry about damaging your door. And It's so lightweight that it's not going to cause any problems with your door opening and closing. I have a tendency to like to decorate my pantry door. So something like this really works for that. Doing this on your kids' bedroom doors. Anything like that. These things are going to hold so nice and light and not affect the use of your door, not rattle every time you open and shut it, and not have to screw or nail anything into it. I'm going to continue to finish out my side, on my back side. I hope that this kind of inspired you to just dig your hands in and create something. And y'all, look at me. By habit, I still picked up that paint without any protection on my hands. I will have to get better at that. But there you go. A complete finished piece. Hope you love it. I absolutely do. I'll be posting pictures later. Get to crafting. Talk to you soon.